Hi everyone, Kay again. Just wanted to do a quick video of how I am creating these tiny little books for my little bookshelf that I'm working on currently. I was given a selection of, when I say selection, a ton of these little matches from, well, this particular one is from the Hyatt on Collins in Melbourne. However long ago, I don't even know if they're still there. Yes, and I've turned them into, I thought when I saw them, when I unburied them out of my cupboard, I thought, wow, they'd make really cute little book covers. This one in particular, it's not so much advertising on it, but yeah, it's a good little size for the Tim Holtz little box thing that I thought would make, and I also discovered in my cupboard, I must have bought ages ago. So here is how it's looking so far. Obviously I haven't painted any of it or covered it in paper, etc. But I have started making some little books in these things, and I'm assuming you're like me and you keep all of your offcuts from your tea-dyed paper and think, what am I going to do with it? Well, you can chop it up and make it into little books if you want. So I'm just going to have a quick run through on how I did it. So you get your little matches and throw them away in the rubbish. And I guess now that not so many people are smoking anymore, they're probably not a popular marketing thing. So then what I do is I cut down the centre of the scratch. Only because, you know, it makes it easier to see the line where the fold is, and you can then cut it quite easily, even with scissors or under a little guillotine, if yours works. Mine actually is giving up the ghost. It's been overworked. So I'm going to have to resort to scissors, which is fine. So there you go. And then I just throw those little bits away because you don't need them for anything. And you've got this little cute little book cover. Well, I think it's cute. So what I do then is gather up my scraps, measure my front and back covers, and just make them to fit within in that area, because when you've got your signature done, or your few of them, it's got to still fit within there. I mean, you can trim them down however you like, cut them or tear them into the right thing. This particular one has got dictionary page, obviously, some lined paper, and I think some blank. There's only 4 pages per signature, but 3 to go in. I did do one with 4, but it was bursting. It looked a bit silly. So I've cut them down to 3. So there they are, the 3 signatures. Fold them in half, of course, and get ready to stitch them. I just stitched mine to a, you could do, quite easily you could stitch them by hand, just pamphlet stitch. It's entirely up to you how you do it, but what I did was thought to myself, well, they're little and fiddly, I can do it on the sewing machine, might be quicker, which it isn't. But anyway, have a go and see what you think. So there we are. What I did then is I'd go straight to the sewing machine, start in the middle of the middle signature and just zip through that on the machine through to the fabric, and then stitch one either side in the same way. And then what you end up with is this, although this slipped down a bit, but that doesn't matter. It's still doing what I wanted it to do, which was hold them all together. So they're all stitched down the centre. That one's a bit close together, but I do use a large stitch normally, so as it don't get too much perforation through there. I don't want them like tear up pages. So there you go. You make your text block in that way. Well, I did. And then you come to pop them into your covers. But before you do that, or before I do that, I just grab some washi and just run it down the spine on the back. Not for any reason other than purely aesthetic, because when they're lined up in a little bookcase like that, you don't want to see, well, I didn't want to see that, so I thought, oh well, I'll cover that over just with some washi. Well, that's probably not right in the middle. Lucky it's not too sticky. Oh, that'll do. There we go. So just like that. fold it over. Now, if your washi is as old as mine, sometimes it doesn't stick. It might need a little bit of glue. So there you go. Like I said, it doesn't really do anything other than maybe support the spine a bit and makes it a little prettier. Obviously not brown and spots, but anyway. Okay, so we're going to find the centre of it. I've just run this little bit of ribbon. It was white. Just run that over my ink pad to give it a bit of colour. And get your glue. This is the glue I use. We don't have the same one that Nikki uses here, but this one works really well. So then what I'm going to do is just run a line of glue through the centre. I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm not going to measure anything. Just run that through the centre like that. Find the centre of your little bit of ribbon that you cut. Just give it a finger press like that so you can see, and pop that in the centre of the spine. There you go, just like that. And then I grab the little stitched signature. Oh, sorry, text block, 3 signatures. Give them a bit of glue down the spine. And centre that in the spine of your little book. Now I normally just let that dry a bit. Oh, those pages might be a bit too long, but I can trim them off later. Yeah, just let that dry a little. If you've got time to walk away, do something else, you can. I always just use these little bulldog clips to stop things from moving. So once that is dry in there, I will glue the sides of the fabric to the front and back cover, and then that should be it. I'll pop in some end papers, tiny end papers. Anyway, there are some matchbooks that have, nice designs. There are some that are not so nice, and some that are kind of cute and interesting. There's one here, I've got a little bar scene on the back, and some advertising here, Bovril, whatever that is, I don't know. Yeah, it's to help you with that sinking feeling, whatever that is, I don't know. And a nice little remember yesteryear on your spine, so that's okay. So the ones that I didn't like, I tried to cover. This particular one I just covered with a book page, and then I stuck a serviette over it just to give it a bit of a pattern or whatever. But you can cut up some little bits and bobs that you might have in your cut off area or your scrap box, and just stick them on the cover. I'll see how you feel when you look at them, if you make them out of these things. Anyway, that should have dried enough. So squirt of glue down here and stick the little bit of fabric down, and I'll hold it in there nicely, and the same on the other side. Whoops, come on. Then measure your covers again, cut your, end paper. I'm stuck with glue everywhere now. Cut your end papers to go in. This is like 2 1/8 by 1 1/8 inch. So it's tiny. And I used inches. I know in Australia and we mostly are centimetre people or millimetre people. But my cutter is American and it's in inches, as is my board. So there we go. And just stick in your end papers. And this glue is good because you've got a couple of seconds where you can just move things around and have them where you want them. I hope I haven't migrated off the out of frame there. But anyway. just set it aside to dry. And here's one I did earlier with the ribbon there tied up. And so here's your little book with all your different pages. Not that it's going to be written in, I don't think, but just to have on the shelf here in your little library. Now there is another type of match holder or folder. This is from a little hotel. So what I did with these was basically just rip out these matches and discard them because I don't need them because I don't smoke anymore. And same thing, fold it over, measure it up. It's generally at the end of the scratch on these ones. And because the scratch is still exposed, I would probably cover these more so than not. And do them in exactly the same way with a couple of signatures. I haven't done one of these yet. Just with two little, I only put two in these. And I will do them the same way with the fabric, but I'll probably cover them because they're really quite good with their advertising and phone numbers, which don't exist anymore. So yeah, so there's that. And I will show you the bookcase once I get it done. And it's all finished and looking lovely. But the thing also is, if you do run out of matchbooks, I made this particular one just out of a file card, you know, the index card, and in exactly the same, just grabbed one, measured it and made one. But then I just covered it in fabric, tea stained fabric, but you could cover it in whatever you like and just make it like you would make a normal book. But anyway, when I say normal, I mean it's tiny, but it'll fill up the little bookshelf there, so that'll be good. Anyway, thanks again. Thanks for watching. I hope you like it, and I hope you make some. And let me know what you think. Okay, bye.